about the security aspect from the last class, and we were talked about the different security. I mean, um, some of the best practices of while in the development itself, and automating those manual steps, process, and everything we have talked about. Okay, let's continue the same. Just for recap, what we have talked here is the best practices, like what exactly the secure development practice by while following a couple of principles like secure coding, and we have talked about the different I think I have this, yeah, security by design, password management, access control, error handling and logging, the input and output validation and encoding. So we have talked a lot of best practices which we should be following while developing the code itself. I mean, of course, you don't need to follow of all this, but as a DevSecOps person, you have to be aware of these many things has been done by the developer or not, or the developer has been following these practices or not. Did they implemented any of the best practices or not? So this at least you have to know about it, because once you join in a company, generally these things will be taken by the security management team. Okay, but sometimes most of the organizations may not have the complete entire team of a security team. Okay, so but they have a one or two persons, or some organizations may not have a anything at all. I mean, the security team. So but since you are the guy of a DevSecOps person, at least they will look at you in terms of a security aspect in the development also. Okay, but even that is the best best opportunity to move your, to move from DevOps to DevSecOps, and even security aspects also. Okay, that is why you need to aware of all these stuffs, while that you need to educate the developers about that. Okay, and next thing is we talked about the different frameworks, especially OASP framework, and some of the private framework, ISO and NIST. So these are the some of the frameworks that we have talked about. And another best practices is a code review for identifying the security vulnerabilities by using a different tools in the editor, in the infrastructure, like SonarQube, Lint, Nessus. So these are all some of the tools which will help you to identify some of the bugs in the code itself. Okay, and even next one is a security basically packaging the your infrastructure. I mean, sometimes we will be working in a online mode, sometimes we'll working in on premises, sometimes we need to work in offline, meaning, see, your customer may not always have their cloud environment in available in cloud. They have their own on premises environment. So so meaning it will be very privately accessible. Okay, it may not be the public, so you have to do offline installation. So you have to be secured your package while shifting from your local to the remote mission for an offline installation. And the next one is you have to, first thing is you have to integrate the security aspect in your CI/CD pipeline, and in each and every phase which we have discussed yesterday. Okay, especially the plan, build, testing, packaging it, deploying it, monitoring. In each and every phase, we have talked about the different tools which were involved in all these phases. Okay, and majorly, what is the next step is automating the same process. How do you automate? What are the tools available? And while following that, you should have some kind of an environment which should have a threat exposure management system, which should have a dashboard reporting and everything we have talked here. Okay, this is what we have talked about it. And another one which I want to be talked in the same way is, the major part is infra management, basically, meaning infra management with the security enabled. So this is the major one that we should be talking about. So this is another aspect in your security. I mean, DevSecOps pattern, you have to be aware of it as a DevSecOps persons. So basically, this is a under the infra management with the security means basically you should be secure your cloud infra, meaning as we talked about yesterday also, like there are some possibilities where the hackers will try to exploit your infrastructure by following some of the backdoor options, or try to exploit you by finding spam emails to your employees. A bigger organization, how they do work, they'll hire a security management, I mean security company, not like a hire, they'll have a contract with a security company where they'll ask to exploit our network, meaning they'll ask the team how much our defense system capable of. For example, if you take an example of MNC company XYZ, they'll tie up with some other company of a security medium-sized company. They'll ask us, can you validate or can you pen test our infrastructure? As a part of the pen test, right? What they do is they'll try to exploit your network, or they'll try to exploit your employees by sending some spam email IDs, some phishing email IDs, phishing text, and they'll try to, for example, if any of the employee got by clicking any of the phishing emails, that's it. I mean, they'll get the key. I mean, they'll get a very small kind of opening, and then based on that, they will try to exploit other vulnerabilities. Okay, they got a only small thing that is like a phishing thing, and then they'll get other stuffs like a VPN access, employee ID access. Their entire infrastructure may compromise it. So that's how they will try to exploit. So the infrastructure you have to secure along with the employees also. I mean, that's why even if you have seen, when you join a company, every year they have to take a courses, or every 6 months they have to take a course and then complete it. If no employee has completed that course, they'll get a frequent mails saying that to you and your manager, this employee did not completed the security compliance course for this year, for this quarter. Make sure please complete it. If it is not completed, they'll take a serious action. So that's how their importance will be given by security management team to the each and every employee. Okay, so that particular course will tell you how to avoid a phishing mail, how to avoid using a phishing mails, how to be suspect, and if how to be suspect, while finding out if any mail is a suspicious, how to deal with that, how to make everything they'll give you in that particular course. Okay, and majorly, for example, if we have access key, your key should not be exposed in all the ways. Wherever you want expose. For example, entering into the office environment. So this is a physical infrastructure. Okay, now let's talk about the cloud infrastructure. For example, your environment, you should have all the what do you say, you should have all your access to be very restricted with authorization and authentication. Okay, so for example, you have a authentication, meaning uh, your employee ID may have authorization but may not have you have authentication but may not have authorization of accessing the administrator room. Okay, so this is one of the example, meaning you should have a proper authentication mechanism with the roles based access. Okay, and that you can implement it with the IAM roles also. I hope you already know about it, IAM roles, which we have learned in a cloud environment. Okay, which is the identity access management system. These are the major keys These are the major control systems in any cloud environment. This is how you do authenticate. I mean, you will enable the authorization and authentication, okay, by creating a IAM policies, okay. And another one is security controls, basically. I mean, network security controls, which is basically, right? Um, I think we have something called security groups, NACS, okay, um, VPNs, private VPN, open WAS, okay. So these are the some of the um, WAS. These are the some of the tools which we would be using to make sure our networks to be very secure in terms of um, accessing and authorization also here. Okay, we know the security groups, right? By mentioning the what are incoming and what are outgoing, which is like inbound and outbound rules for the EC2 instance level, which are in stateless. But in case of NACS, we will apply this the same rules like inbound and outbound rules at the network levels, which means in VPC levels. This will apply the entire network infrastructure, but the security groups will be applying on the instance or resource level itself, okay. And even we can have a private VPN or open some of the VPNs itself, and even we have a open I mean, there are some other tools which are presented apart from the cloud environment security tools also. OpenVAS is another a security management tool which will scan infrastructure also to find any vulnerabilities are there, okay. So this is way of we would be saving our network by using some of the network security control tools. And next one is most of the things is container security. So these are the container security we do have. uh, you know, I mean, of course, we won't expose directly to the outer world, but still, if you are using, we should be take caring of these things like a Trivi, Docker scan. These are the some of the tools which will enable the container scanning. Even if you are using the Kubernetes, we should be using some of the security scanning tools for the container also. Trivi or Docker scan is also, these are the tools which we would generally use for the scanning of the containers, okay. Now another one is, apart after infrastructure management with the security, the major thing is like we will come under the monitoring part now, okay. These are nothing but the security monitoring and incidents response, okay. Meaning, for example, basically what does it mean is, till now whatever we have discussed, everything is basically, just one, whatever we have talked till now is all about the to prevent the security issues, meaning we are trying to block as much as possible with our access controls by using different tools and everything. This is what we have discussed till now. Now the point is, we were being, now what if something got exploited, some security event happened, meaning some hacker got exploited your network or hacked your resource. Now, what is the process? How to identify that? Or even if someone is trying to access, how can we try to identify? And how can you manage the incident? This is what we are going to talk now. Okay. For example, how they were been doing is, how they were been doing is you have to apply some kind of a monitoring tool, okay. That monitoring tool is nothing but a, best thing is Splunk. Splunk is the most popular tool for the security incidents management. I mean, not only incident management, it is a security incidents log management. Basically what they do is For example, you install Apache web server, you install a database server, you install your application, or you install any of the software, it will generate the logs, right? You would redirect those logs to the Splunk. Especially Splunk will give you some kind of a configuration setup, will suggest you, hey dude, if you're installing Apache web server or RDS or any of the tool, you have to configure a configuration file. That file will be take caring of getting a logs from that particular tool and then forwarded to the Splunk dashboard. A Splunk dashboard is a place where you can monitor all kinds of incidents, what is happening. Splunk automatically detects some kind of some kind of I mean, if there are any issues based on the anomalies which we would be configuring, and then it will trigger an events, and automatically it will tell you, I mean, it will automatically trigger a notifications to the administrator or security management people. The behavior of the application is running differently. Please take care of it. Please watch it out. So that's how it will work out. I mean, I'll just show you this also. Um, Splunk, Splunk. Okay, this is how a Splunk dashboard looks like, which is nothing but a how many issues are there, how many, what are those, and where it is coming from, what kind of an issues, and everything we'll get to know. I'll just show you. Splunk use cases. If we do RDS, Kafka, um, ECs, no. Okay, yeah. See, here, these are all the log generators. Log generators means um, the software that you are using will generate some kind of a logs. Okay, those logs you will be integrating with the Splunk itself. For example, here cloud logs and metrics. Your entire AWS organization will have some kinds of logs, right? You are forwarding those logs to this one, Splunk. And app logs and metrics. For example, you developed an applications, and you would be forwarding those logs to Splunk again. And security logs and events. For example, IAM logs and policy logs, you would be forwarding it to here. And infrastructure logs and metrics, especially your events, I mean, sorry, resources events, you would be forwarding here. And VPN network related logs, all you would be forwarding to a Splunk. Splunk um, will analyze those logs and then give you some kind of analysis, or it will understand the behavior of an application. Once it understand, if it found any anonymous or some kind of abnormal behavior, then it will notify us also here. Okay, so this is how it will identify if there is any suspicious activities happening in any of the resources. And the person who will install, who will monitor, or who will work on is person is called SOC, Security Operation Control Center, a person. He will be taking of it, and he is the responsible for entire security monitoring tool. This is how he will be enabling the, where is that? This is how they will enable the security monitoring using the um, logs and applications. Okay. And the next one is, in this process, what he would be doing is a security incidents response. In the Splunk itself, there is a some incidents management system. For the incident management system, most of the times people will be using a Jira. Okay, Jira will have some kind of a workflows. Workflows means your team lead or your manager will create some workflow. Workflow is nothing but first someone has to create a ticket which should be in the open state. Once the open state once the open state has been completed, someone has to assign within 1 hour. If no one has assigned within 1 hour, it will auto assign to a manager itself, and manager is the first person who will respond if no one has been assigned themselves. Okay, then immediately manager will find any other person is available, he will assign the ticket to someone itself. So like that, once it is assigned, it should be solved in 2 days at max. Once it is solved in 2 days, they have to fill up couple of details like RCA, root cause analysis, what is an impact, how much downtime we required, what are the changes you are recommending, what is the necessary steps you have to take if we don't want to repeat this kind of an issue, what is your recommendation, how much time it has taken. So they have to fill such kind of a template, and then once they have done everything, they will be moving it to the QA for the validation. So this is like a flow. Okay, this workflow will be customized, or this workflow can be customized based on the organization itself. Similarly, these kinds of workflows will be created by the SOC team, which is especially the security operations team, and then using a Jira, and then they will work on it. This is how they manage their incidents if something happened at all. Okay, and another one is threat intelligence and security information, which is basically which we have talked here also. I mean yesterday also. Um, this is called um, security information and event management system. These are called some, you might have heard about SOC, SIM, and all the stuff here, right? So this all is being done by the a person called SOC, Security Operation Center team, where they would be working on all kinds of this one. Okay, security information and event management. So these are the guys who will be. I think if you work in MNC, every week or every month in a once they will send you some kind of a what do you say, events. They will try to send you phishing emails. Okay, within organization they'll do a practice of, they'll send you some kind of a phishing emails, and then see how the employees are reacting it. Are they uh, are they are they capturing any of the issues, um, or they are been enough to find whether it is a suspicious or phishing email, or are they aware of everything, or they are anyone is trying to click on this. They'll do some practices. Whoever is been passed in the test, for example, I may send you a phishing email. If you are enough to find out, okay, this is a phishing emails, you are good. If you unfortunately, if you are unable to find and if you clicked on this, you caught it, meaning uh, I mean, security team will find out, and then okay, this guy has not passed this test. Let's send another course to complete this. This is how they would be reacting it. Okay, so uh, so these kind of events, and even if even if you unfortunately, if you really caught by any phishing emails, you have to first reach out to a person. They will create an incident, and they will track you what are the resources you have been used till now, and how much it has been impacted, and can they get a sandbox. And then for example, you received a phishing email with attachment. Okay, that attachment have some kind of a malicious code, and these SOT team will take that attachment and then put it in a sandbox. Sandbox is a temporary disposable VM, and then they will see how this malicious is reacting it. Okay, it's like a they are taking it and then behaving in a controlled I mean, they are releasing it in a controlled environment to see the behavior of the malicious code. That's how they will understand, okay, someone has a malicious code. That malicious code will try to encrypt entire your entire computer itself. So that malicious code may compromise your network itself. So they will understand the based on the behavior by putting them in a sandbox. All these events will be happening in the this this code, I mean this particular section itself. That event is called, there is a separate team called SEIM, which is a security information and event management system. Okay, so this is another one. And the last one in the security that we were going to talk about is compliance and governance. Okay. Okay, this is basically another side concept you have to understand, compliance and governance. Okay, what does it mean is you should be there are some kind of frameworks or requirements that everyone should be following it. Because for example, you are working in a company and your company or your organization is developing a software. And once they developed a software, if someone want to buy a software from your organization, that should be trusted by any of the existing framework. Okay, meaning their own I mean, even though we developed from an India, if US want to use that, US will have some kind of a set of guidelines and framework in order to use your software, because you have that is been developed by the foreign country. The foreign country can be in India or US, I mean Singapore or any company. Okay, that framework is nothing but will have some kind of a compliance. Compliance means, okay, is your software tracking any of the crucial information apart from general logs? Finally, how much information are you tracking with your software, and is it been obeyed with our local government laws? So uh, uh, is it following our regular bodies whatever we want? So these kind of information they would be asking, or they would be putting in one kind of a framework. And they will ask you what is the compliance of your project, or what is the compliance of your tools. Is it compliance means, are you following everything what we have mentioned based on our logs, which is nothing but a terms and condition. You have to tell, okay, my software is going to capture the data which was not relevant to your political or geological related data. For example, no latitude, longitude, or IP addresses, no events, or no capturing of the financial information or political information. So you have to clearly mention this. For this itself, there is a separate dedicated HR team will be presented. For example, you might have understand there is something called a HIPAA, GDPR. So these are the some of the compliance and governance tools every organization will be following it. Okay, let me show you HIPAA compliance here. See what is a HIPAA compliance means? Totally, you, you would need to make sure your organization and your software is obeyed with our regular laws or local authorities, along with some of the security management system. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, these are the some of the checklist. For example, as I mentioned here, right, the security compliance here is that first one is the rules, network and encryption. If you are following any network related application, or if you want to transfer your applications from their organizations to your or within organization, is your network is encrypted. Do you have a control access? How do you have a authenticated EPHP, encrypted devices, control activity audits? Do you have audits, automatic log off when if you want it? So they would be taking of the physical security also along with the some of the administrative related safeguards. So how do you have a risk management, systematic risk management? So all you have to make sure, um, all whatever they have mentioned, some checklists, right? You have to follow this, and then you will get a HIPAA certification. You can tell I'm a HIPAA certified, so meaning I'm very safe and secured enough to make sure our software should be good enough. Okay, every company will be having this certification itself, and the person who is going to help in this kind of activities is from the security team, and even sometimes a DevSecOps person also. That is why we are discussing all this is now. Okay. Otherwise, another guy will be taking of this also. Another frameworks is, there are some standards, like NIST. Again, we have discussed about it. NIST compliance. So you have to follow, or you should have all these. You should have all these, I mean, again, checklist you have to follow. You can say NIST cyber framework. Let me show you the example of it. Flipkart, um, HIPAA compliance. Okay. uh, and I want to show you, okay, AWS certification from security, um, from security sandbox. Okay. Mm, okay. This is also an example we can talk it. For example, you are working in a company. That company is related to the cloud environments, and you want to get certified. The certified providers are from a different things. One among them is a AWS itself. Another one is a NIST. Another one is a HIPAA. So like that, there are ISO. There are ISO. I mean, like that. So AWS is also providing some kind of a certified about your organization. Those are called ISO 27001, 27001, which is a cloud specific controls, security management controls, privacy information management. If you, so you can attach these kind of ISOs to your website or your companies, saying that okay, we are ISO 2700, I mean 27701 certified, meaning your company is well enough to maintain the privacy information. So we are certified. If you want to verify our certification, and we can provide you, and this is our certification ID, I mean certification name. You can also, so most of the companies will have these kind of uh, I mean, compliance certifications and all. Okay, so that's why for example, let me show you. I'm trying to find out. Okay, Flipkart itself, I can try, because I want to show you whether privacy and security here. Let's open the security here. Okay, ERP compliance. See this? These guys are following the ERP compliance, which is related to the e-waste management system, meaning how effectively they are managing the e-wastages and everything here. So basically, what are the things, what kind of a certifications they do have, and how they are disposing all the stuffs, and where are their locations. So these guys are saying someone would have been complained about this by using these guys. They are, it is very wastage is going. They might have done this certification itself on their intentional way, or someone has reported because of that they are doing. So every company would be working some kind of a compliance issue. Okay. For example, in your organization also, someone has been complained about your security issues, right? So you would be start thinking about the, we can get the certifications from a security team and all the different vendors, and then you show us, okay, we are certified from these events, so we are good enough to understand or trust it. So this is how they would be following some kind of a frameworks, and then they will be get a certified itself. Okay, this is it guys, especially when we are talking about the security aspect itself, compliance and DevSecOps. All these, whatever we discussed from yesterday's to today's class, is all about the security and all of the theoretical parts. And as a DevSecOps person, you have to know it, but you don't need to work on it. Because but in worst cases, right, and if the organization does not have um, any person from the security, they may involve you as a DevSecOps person to understand, I mean, to work on some kind of a small task or maybe bigger tasks also. That's why you have to understand all these terminologies, how this works. And even in once you join, you may get a, some kind of a, we are going to certification attestation by the security teams and all, you will understand easily. Okay, this is it. Now let's go to the practical part. In the practical part, we are going to talk about the AWS WAF, which is nothing but a web application firewall. Let me talk about this. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. This AWS WAF is a service in AWS where you will apply on a specific services. For example, specific services means you can't apply the AWS WAF on ES3 or Lambda. I think Lambda you can apply, but you can apply on EC2. You can apply on VPC. You can apply on I think not Route 53. So there are specific services you can apply this services on. I mean, specific resources that you can apply these services. It's apply in the sense attaching this in EC2. What you are doing is you are attaching a security group to your EC2 instance. Similarly, you will apply a WAF rule on your four types of services, that could be ALB or EC2 or Lambda or EKS, not EKS, ECS, which is nothing but a container itself. I think these are the four only I have remembered. Let's see that also here. So you can attach that, which is nothing but a WAF rules. I mean, this is how it will work. But if you ask me what exactly is this, a WAF is nothing but a rule specific, meaning you will tell there are some rules, that rules will have, that rules is nothing but a kind of a restrictions to access your web application. It will protect you from a external exploitation, especially if someone is trying to do a DDoS attack, or it will try to identify a spam IP addresses, accessing the your website from the spam IP addresses, because your hit rate count would be decreased. So these kind of things will be provided to you. Okay. So show you all this. Just a minute. Yeah, managed rules. Everything is a rule that we are going to talk about it. Okay. Mm, yeah, these rules are from the cyber security cloud, rules from the F5, rules from the Fortinet, rules from the Impirva. So if you ask me what is the rules, what they have done is they created some rules. That rules is nothing but a, for example, these guys are certified, these guys are good at finding out finding out the suspicious IP addresses, meaning they have a rule. That rule will have a list of IP addresses which are not an which are suspicious or which are not good one. These are these IPs are using by a hackers. So what they do is they'll create such kind of rules and then sell it to you, and you can apply these rules and then attach to your application, for example your EC2. So whenever request is coming from those listed IP address, this rule will trigger saying that hey, you are from my list, I'm not going to allow you to access my application because you are in my suspicious list. So you are not able to access. This will eliminate. Because of this you are secured enough to authenticate, I mean you are secured of accessing also. So like this, these guys have their own set of rules. See, for example, F5 manager rules, they have a rules related to the bot protection rules. Meaning bot means there are a lot of bots who will try to do access your application. So it will find if it is a real human or it's a bot or someone programmatically accessing, they will understand you. And next one is a web exploit. If any of the request is coming and then it is possible to understand the WASP rules, it will trigger you. And if any request is coming and then trying to attack your APIs, it will find you. And even it will find you most of the common vulnerabilities exposure from if you adopt the F5 manager rules. So like this we do have, and even let's understand this also here. So just 1 minute. Let me try here. I think I have to log in it. Probably I may not have the login credentials right now, but I can show you that if I have it. What I can do is just give me 1 minute. I'll try to log in here itself. Or if you guys have Kiran, you can tell me if you have an access. So if your credentials, so I can log in and show you. But let me find mine also here. Okay, I think I do not have the credentials right now with me, but I'll show you by the coming class. But still, I can show you something else also here. AWS WAF architecture or the documentation. Yeah. So how do you do this? These services, WAF services will come under the firewall manager services, And what does you can apply this WAF rule on cloud front, application load balancer, API gateway, and app sync. I think not on EKS, sorry, not on ECS service. It is app sync services. What you do is first, while creating a WAF, you need to choose which service that you want to get it apply, and then create a policy. In the policy, you will find your own rules, meaning you can define your own rules, or you can adapt some manager rules which we have just talked about, which is like a bot rules, bot protection rules, API rules, DDoS rules by a F5. Those are been payable, or you can create your own rules also with the policy, and then give a action, what action you want. Either you can block it, or you can filter it out, or you can do some, there will be some kind of an actions. If any of the request comes under this policy, you can find a respective action. Whether you want to block it, you can do, otherwise you can filter it out, and then finally keep on monitoring it. So this is the entire flow of creating a WAF rule itself. Okay, we will see that also here. So this is the a flow or workflow of a WAF which should work here. Okay, and basically these are the some of the use cases. Filtering out the web traffic. For example, you want to access your web application only within India. You can write a rule, WAF rule, saying that if IP origin from India, you can first you can select, and then CloudFront or ALB, which is your EC2 mission, and then create a policy, and then that policy is nothing but if IP is from Indian origin. There are a lot of options available, you can find it out easily. And uh, then action is allow, and then monitor. That's it. This is how you do the filtering out the web traffic. Okay, and prevent the account takeover fraud. This is another use case. Okay, your application login page will keep on monitoring. If any access is keep on, I mean, if any IP address is keep on trying for accessing for almost 1 minute for multiple attempts, meaning it is a suspicious. Suspicious means someone is trying to hack your website of a login page, or manually, I mean, automatically triggering a fake authentication issues. Then you can identify, okay, this IP, the requests are coming from this IP may be the malicious, or not the general behavior. It is something else. So it is going to block this. This is a takeover. I mean, this, you are preventing some kind of a fraud action for your application. And another use case is all about the APIs authentication. So if one keep on trying hit your API for multiple times within a small span of time, then it is not the right one. Okay, so this is how you identify all your um, fraudulent, I mean, events. Like you can protect your infrastructure, or web applications, or load balancer, or some of the things from the bad protectors by using a, or by enabling the WAF rules itself. Okay, these are the guys, they have been enabled WAF in their company, and they published all this the things here. Okay, now what I'll tell you is, I'll show you another one also here. Okay, pricing. This is another important. You will understand this also. See, the pricing of this is also differ from the based on the region itself. First, you need to create a web ACL, which means $5 per month, and rule is $1 per month, and request it can handle is $0.660 per 1 million request. If you created a policy, for example, you created a one policy is 5 rupees, and that policy contains a one rule will have a 1 rupee per month, I mean $1 per month. And if this particular combination is applying for 1 million requests, and if you apply this policy and with this rule is working on a 1 million request, then you will be charged for $0.60. Okay, the total bill is for 1 month of a for 1 month of time period. A policy contains a one rule. Total is $5 plus $1 plus $0.60. Total is $6.06 per 1 month you are being charging for your resources. For example, in general, we will have a multiple policies and multiple rules, and then request will be based on the your dependency. I mean, it's your requirement. For example, if your application is very popular enough, you may get a lot of requests and lot of stuffs here. Okay, so that's how they would be applying it here. This is for the general purpose. If you have a bot control or fraud controller policies, then you will be apply the additional costs. Let me show you here. No managed rules groups and 19 rules written by you. As I mentioned here, right, the rules can be managed or the rules can be written by our own itself. So if you were, I mean, there is now the question is there is no managed rule group and 19 rules written by you. As I mentioned here, since you have created a policy, the one policy has 5 rupees, so $5. And rule charges, you have a $1 for one rule, so totally 19 rules, totally $19. And request charges are $660 for a 1 million request. So totally you have a 10 million requests you are handling in a month. So totally for that you have a $6, totally $30 per month. Okay, if you have a 20 rules, you will get a $20. If you have 100 rules, $100 will be charged for you. Now here, let's see this. One managed rule group from AWS Marketplace seller and 9 rules written by you. As usual, one policy and rules you have written by, I mean, rules charges, which is a $1 into one managed rules plus 9 rules. Totally nine, I mean, $10 for that. And finally, the request it is handled is at, for example, 10 millions, it is a $6. If you have a 1 million request handles, it is a $0.62. In this example, they have given a 10 million request, so that's why $6 they have given here. Totally, their monthly charges for the WAF rules is nothing but a $21 here. Okay, and for the managed roles, I mean, this is with the owned, the rules managed by this guy. Okay, now he is using a manager rules. Manager means these rules given by a some of the AWS person, that AWS manager rules group, and they are charging a $20. And if the manager request is, I mean, see, the request charges is also very high for this one, meaning if it's handled a million requests, the charge is a $1.20. For 1 million requests for the custom rules, it is 0.60 rules, $60. But in case of handling the request of 1 million of a managed rules, then we would be using a almost a 120, I mean $1.20 here. So totally, if you are handling a 10,000 million request, I mean 10 million requests, you will be charged for the $12. Totally $32 for the managed rules usage. Totally $53 per month. So this is how you would be charging. You will get to know, don't worry about it. This, you have to understand this also here. Okay, that's it guys for today's session. And in the next session we will walk through how to create a WAF rule and how do we apply and all the stuff we would be doing it. Okay, That's it for today's class. Any questions, please let us know either in our next session or now itself. We can deal with that. Thank you, guys.